Some lessons are not spoken, they are learned in silence. In a small city, long ago, a young man worked at a grand fashion house, surrounded by skilled hands, but guided by none. Every day, he watched. Every night, he practiced. No one noticed his effort. No one called his name. But patience was quietly stitching his future together. This is the story of Timo. In a narrow stone alley, behind the morning market, there was a small room, filled with fabric and thread. A boy sat beside his mother. He watched her hands move slowly and carefully.
Slowly, Timo. Sewing is not a race.
But if I go faster, I can help more.
Care makes good work. Speed only makes noise.
His mother believed every stitch carried a story, and every story deserved patience. 10 years drifted by like thread through a needle. The warmth of the room began to fade as Timo's mother grew ill. Responsibility now rested on his shoulders. To support them, he found work at a grand fashion house in the heart of the city. But in their final moments, she gave him one last gift.
Even when no one teaches you, your eyes can.
Soon after, the room became silent, but her words stayed. The heart of the city was cold and grand. Madame Roselle, the owner, was a woman of few words. She did not need to speak to be heard. Her sharp, piercing gaze was enough to keep every hand moving. Under her eyes, there was no room for mistakes.
You will clean the tables, carry the cloth, and follow instructions.
Yes, madame.
The fashion house dressed noble families, but it was not a gentle place for beginners. Within its walls, the air was never quiet. Scissors cutting fabric, irons pressing cloth, footsteps moving with purpose. But for Timo, there was another sound, silence. Timo waited for a word, for a sign, for even a small instruction.
Madame, should I cut the lining now?
Madame Roselle adjusts the fabric. She does not answer. She heard him, but she chose not to reply. And silence, Timo learned, could feel heavier than harsh words. So Timo learned to become very quiet, quiet hands, quiet steps, quiet questions that stayed inside him.
3 small stitches, then 1 long.
Until one moment, Madame Roselle finally addressed him.
If you have nothing to do, clean the table.
Yes, madame.
His face felt warm, not from anger, but from shame. Still, he watched. No one taught him, so he learned by watching, remembering, and he tried again in his lonely attic at night.
Mother, maybe this place is not for me.
For a moment he wondered if patience was just another way to wait alone. Days passed. Timo stayed quiet, but his notebook grew full. The fashion house was a machine. Timo had become a shadow, unnoticed, until one morning an event occurred that forced Madame Roselle to finally acknowledge him.
This gown must be perfect. Lady Eveline arrives tomorrow.
As Madame Roselle tightened the back laces of the gown, the silence of the room was shattered. The sound of protesting silk echoed through the hall. A jagged tear opened like a wound in the delicate fabric.
There is no time to remake it.
This was not supposed to tear. We cannot fail tonight.
When the fabric tore, time seemed to stop. No extra cloth, no second chance.
Madame, may I help?
If you fail, this is your responsibility.
I understand.
His hands remembered what his eyes had learned. Under the watchful, skeptical eyes of the masters, Timo began to weave. He worked with a quiet diligence, his needle moving like a heartbeat, slow, steady, and certain. He didn't just hide the tear, he transformed it. With careful precision, he added delicate new accents to the embroidery, blending the repair so perfectly that the wound became a work of art. Where there was once a scar, there was now a beautiful, shimmering detail that seemed to belong there all along.
It holds.
The following morning, Lady Evelyn smiled with quiet delight. The gown carried no memory of its wound. Madame Roselle did not speak. She only looked at Timo and nodded.
You still have much to learn.
Of course, Madame.
2 years passed in a rhythm of falling needles and rising suns. As Timo's skills grew, so did the bridge of trust between him and Madame Roselle. He was no longer the boy who lived in the shadows of the workshop. He was the steady hand that the fashion house relied upon. But his greatest skill was not just in how he handled the fabric, but in how he remembered the weight of being small.
It won't go through.
Try again.
Slowly. You make it look easy.
That's because you didn't see my first try.
Timo never chased praise. He simply did the work. No one had taken the time to teach him, so he taught himself by watching, by listening, by trying, and when the moment came, he was ready.